you need immediate help, please call the National Substance Abuse and Mental Health Hotline at 1-800-662-HELP.
Bottle of wine, fruit of the vine. When you gonna let me get sober? Let me go home and start over.
Welcome to Clean and Sober Radio, brought to you in part by Jefferson University Hospitals and Thomas Jefferson University, providing excellent clinical and compassionate care in the Philadelphia region, a proven leader in healthcare and education since 1825. And now, here are your hosts, Gary Hendler and Mark Sigmund.
Hey, hi, everybody, and welcome to Clean and Sober Radio out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Clean and Sober Radio features real people with real stories about addiction to drugs and alcohol. And I must mention before we start the show, Mark is not here. He's on vacation. And the lovely Linda E. is co-hosting with me today.
Hi, everybody.
Linda, what's new in recovery news this week?
Oh, we have a good one.
All right, let's hear it.
A couple in South suburban Chicago got caught by the feds by flower pots. So the article doesn't say how the flower pots got there, but they must have had a warrant that they can keep these flower pot cameras on the person's porch. After a while doing it, they saw people coming and going, and they could see a video of her boyfriend cooking the fentanyl in their kitchen. And they also raided a storage facility where they had all the pills they made up. They made the pills and put the fentanyl in, and people thought it was other drugs, and it's just horrible. And then another house owned by the boyfriend, they found handguns and assault-type rifles. Just terrible. Okay. Terrible that people are making this stuff now. That's the worst.
That's what it is. Anything else?
Anything else?
Yeah,
okay.
Anything else?
Well, beloved chef Ann Burrell died last week.
Who
Ann Burrell.
Excuse me. I don't know who he or she is.
Okay, Food Network. Ann Burrell hosted a show called Worst Cooks in America. Oh. Great teacher, great chef. She's been on Chopped. She's been on everything else, but she had her own show, big star. And her husband had to call 911 in Brooklyn. He woke up and found her in the bathroom, and he was sure it was cardiac arrest. Yeah. And, the tabloids since picked up from an EMT that there might have been pills around her in the bathroom. So the other tabloids have run away with this. The autopsy, it hasn't been 2 weeks. They won't give you the drug report yet. Right. They've already buried her and everything. But all the tabloids are like, possible drug overdose. Well, nobody really knows. And I'm tired of people just running away with that information when they don't really have it. I don't know what's going to happen. But she was a beloved chef. Everybody loved her. Yeah. Big star. Big star.
Wow, it's too bad. And it's irresponsible for people to come out and assume or come to conclusions with stuff like this before the facts are in.
Right, and when the facts come in, if they're different, we can talk about it that week.
That's exactly right. Okay, so today's show is going to be difficult for me to do the interview, okay? And our guest today is Karen Poserina-Lohr. Correct. And she is an educator. She is an author, and she is a mom. And she lost her daughter on September the 11th, 2019. And when we come back, we're going to find out all about Kelsey, and we're going to get into this interview, which is going to be very informative. And at times probably hard to listen to, but we got to go with it. We're going to get through it. We'll be right back.
This is Clean and Sober Radio.
A cancer diagnosis can knock the wind out of you. The Sidney Kimmel Cancer Center at Abington Jefferson Health can help. Our brand new Asplund Cancer Pavilion brings you 86,000 square feet of cancer-fighting science for truly comprehensive care. Backed by the strength of an NCI-designated cancer center. Call 1-800-JEFF-NOW. The Sidney Kimmel Cancer Center at Abington Jefferson Health. The power to out-science cancer.
Hi, this is Dion, the Wanderer. Listen to Clean and Sober Radio. You might hear something that'll change your life. Yo!
888-728-9941. This is Clean and Sober Radio.
You can enjoy this show on a lot of different mediums. We are on WWDB AM 860 in Philadelphia, WPEN 97.5 FM High Def in Philadelphia, WGAC in Augusta, Georgia, and WJBR 1010 in Tampa, Florida.
Imagine there's no heaven. Imagine all the people.
You know, I'm sort of getting tired of the Beatles. You know that? Is that possible?
It is possible.
Is it possible?
I hear you.
It's and that voice that you just hear, which you've never heard before, is Karen's voice. Karen, welcome to Clean and Sober Radio.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming here. This is a
course.
difficult, I can't even imagine subject for you, but it needs to be told. That's why
Yes.
you're here.
Right.
And it needs to, carry on Kelsey's legacy.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Whew.
you. I know. We're
Yeah.
going to get through it.
It's rough. Okay. So let's first talk about, where are you from?
I'm from Levittown. Grew up there my whole life. My parents were from Philly, brought us to Levittown with that $100 down on the house, and, been there my whole life.
And for our listeners who are not around here, Levittown is a suburb of Philadelphia.
That's right.
All right, that's where you met Garth, your husband?
Well, yes, correct.
Okay. He's here, but
Yes.
he's afraid to be in the studio. He's a chicken.
I
Okay.
won't let him.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so let's talk about your family. I mean, that's why we're here. We're going to talk about Kelsey, and you also have a son, Jesse.
Correct.
What was Kelsey as a kid? What was she like?
Well, she was a sweetheart. She was a good baby. She was a good little girl. Very friendly, kind, had a great sense of humor. We grew up in a nice neighborhood in Langhorne, nice middle class family. She did all the right things. She played sports and had lots of friends, very social. And it was it was like the American dream, if you want to call it that.
Right.
That's what I felt we were living.
I was reading your book. You have a book out, which we're going to mention
Yes.
several times, called Hippie Chick. It is about Kelsey.
Correct.
It is available on Amazon.
Yep.
And I just read the book, and it is so well written and so easy to read.
Thank you.
The
Thank you.
chronologically, the whole
Right.
book made sense, even though it's a very, very difficult subject. Why did you write the book?
Well, after Kelsey passed the first year, I felt I needed to do something. And I decided to build a website, because I didn't know anything about doing that, so that I could write a blog. So I started to write a blog about grief and what I was going through. So for me, writing is a way to express my feelings and get all my emotions out. So I did that, and that was very cathartic. It was very helpful, and it helped other people. So after that, I kind of put that on the back burner. And then, I don't know, maybe 3 years into losing her, it just felt like I had unfinished business, and I needed to really get my story out there. And that's when I decided to write the book.
Right. In 2011, you were living in a neighborhood, and one day you came home, and your brother and his family were at your house.
Correct.
And you walked into the door, and it was like, what is going on here?
Right.
And as you say in the book, you heard the 5 worst words anybody could hear,
Yeah.
which were what?
Kelsey's addicted to heroin.
Right. What was
Yeah.
that? What? I mean, were you totally
Oh,
blindsided?
yes, totally blindsided. Had no idea. And that was the worst conversation that they ever wanted to have with us. I know that. And my niece and my daughter were close. They were close in age, and she was suspicious, but she didn't want to say anything to
Yeah,
me until
yeah.
she had proof. And Kelsey had confided in her, and she absolutely did the right thing, coming and telling us, because yes, my husband and I were both blindsided.
Did you believe it?
Yep,
You did.
absolutely.
So there must have been some kind of signs.
No, not the
Yeah.
heroin part.
Yeah.
Maybe she was not even the dabbling in other stuff. I know she was doing other stuff later. I found that out, but I'm sure there was drinking and stuff. But we were trying to be, and I think we were good parents. But sometimes you question that: am I being too strict?
Of course.
And or am I being too lenient? And you're running that fine line.
Now, Kelsey was the type of kid, as I read in your book, she marched to the beat of a different drum
As she got older.
as she got older.
Yeah. Not when she was younger. She followed the rules. She did everything she was supposed to do. She was a really good kid, and that's fine. And I think following to the different drum, beating to a different drum is fine.
It's not bad.
No, but she was with a group of high achievers, and I think she felt maybe she didn't live up to that. She was starting to feel some pressure, I think, in her own mind, not from her friends at all, but it was, and she wanted to go a different course.
When I was reading the book, you got to read, Lynn. It's really great. I was relating this mostly to my daughter,
Okay.
but also to myself.
Okay.
Right.
Growing up, not feeling adequate,
Right,
all sorts of. You weren't good enough. Everybody else was better.
Yeah.
And then you act out.
Right. Exactly. Yes. And she took a path. So she started to distance herself from some of these friends socially. Still in schools, she was still involved, and she played the violins, and she was in 3rd grade. She sang in the chorus. She acted in plays. Blah blah blah. But then she started to go down a path of she wanted to go with different friends, and she found, and they were the friends that were, I think, maybe doing some drugs. I didn't know that. Maybe doing some more drinking and things that I didn't think she was going to ever do. But
Right. We have some callers. You want to take some calls?
oh yeah,
Take a call right now.
oh
Oh, they're just listeners. Chickens. All right. Okay. Okay. That's what it says. Listeners only. I guess it's listeners only. Okay. Sorry about that. All right. We'll get callers in here. Linda, could you read? I know you didn't read the book, but you know what Karen was saying? Like, you were growing up and, you felt like you didn't fit in and all
Well,
this
I
kind
had
of
the
stuff.
extra burden of I found out accidentally at 13 that I was adopted. So I really was thrown into a tailspin. Why did
Right.
they lie to me for 13 years?
right.
Like, I really felt like the world, I deserved to party. I deserved to
Okay.
get
I get it.
Right.
a break because how could this have happened to me?
Right.
So, yeah. So it's hard. It's hard.
it is
And then
really
with the
hard.
kids, I wanted to be that parent that likes all the friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my mother hating all my friends and throwing people out of
Oh,
the house
okay.
left and right. So I wasn't going to be like that. So my son brought his friends to the house all the time. And I didn't think any of them were the bad influence,
Right.
But they might have been, and I didn't know it. But I
Right.
was trying to be the nice mom.
Right.
So what did you
I
guys?
get that.
What did you guys do after you heard that news? Kelsey is a heroin addict.
Well, we went full blown into action. My
Right.
brother and his family left.
Because
And,
you're going to fix it.
oh, yeah.
Sure.
I didn't know what else to do. I was
Right.
I was freaking out. My husband's always Garth's great. He's like the calm one.
Yeah.
So I overreact. I'm screaming and carrying, crying, blah, blah, blah. And she's at work, so we don't, then I calm down. And then we set up, she's going to rehab. So she came home from work, not suspecting a thing. And the next morning, we had made all the arrangements. And then that morning, she came downstairs and we said, I know what's going on. And we're taking you to rehab.
Where'd you go?
Oh, there was one in Jersey.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Okay.
Was she willing?
Oh, God, no.
Was there a lot of screaming and crying and all sorts of stuff?
Yes. It reminded me of like when you drop your kid off at kindergarten and they don't want to go,
Right,
and the teacher has to pull them
Right,
in,
right.
and you're upset, and because that's what the counselors were doing, and they were saying, just leave. I mean, she walked out the door and threw her clothes at us and everything.
course.
Oh, my goodness.
Now I get it, but I didn't get it then.
As we were talking when we were all walking into the studio, nobody taught us anything about how to deal with any of this.
No. And you feel so all alone. We felt
Helpless, alone.
helpless, alone. And back then, in 2011, at least now it's out there a little bit more, and there's more resources. Back then, I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to do. And you're not going to tell anybody
The shame
because
of it,
it's the shame.
yeah.
So,
If you're just joining us, audience, we're talking to Karen Poserina-Lohr.
Good job.
Thank you. Karen and her husband, Garth, lost their daughter, Kelsey, in 2019, and we were talking about all of it. So if you're interested, you want to talk to Karen, maybe you have the same experience, maybe you want to know some things, this is your opportunity. Give us a call at 1-888-728-9941. That's 1-888-728-9941. So, did she stay at the rehab? She left?
She didn't. Well,
Yeah.
Somebody broke her out.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
where,
Yeah.
somebody got her out, and then I found out. I'm thinking she's still there, and then I didn't know that whole thing where they don't call you and let you know what's happening. You're like, well, why isn't anybody calling me? Because that's not what they do. And she was an adult.
Right, they're not called.
No,
Even
there's
though
none of that.
they're adults, but we think they're still babies, basically.
Correct. That's the problem.
That's the problem.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Well,
That's one of the problems.
I'll tell you something, people. You have to get this book. There is so much relatable stuff in this book. It's on Amazon. Where else is it?
Just Amazon.
Amazon. Good enough. Hippie Chick. So, did you consider Kelsey a hippie? Like a
I mean, you know what? She was a hippie wannabe because that was one of her issues, I think. She had a wanderlust to her, meaning like she always just, if I get clean, I want to go like, travel around in like a minivan or something and play music or make jewelry. And that appealed to her. And, she would go to like those
folk festival.
festivals, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And she wore like
Hippie
like
clothes?
a lot of jewelry, and then she got into that whole hippie look, and which was cute. So she was kind of like my hippie chick, but she never quite got there as far as meeting her goals that she had wanted for herself, I think. And she did go to college, 4 years of college.
Where'd she go?
Westchester University, got a BS. And
Wow.
She wanted to be a physical therapist and really worked really hard and never got to,
What kind of friends did she have?
She had wonderful friends growing up. It was great. But it was after the high school when she started to look for something that was a little more stimulating and a little more on the edge. And then she started to meet different guys.
Yeah.
And then that's how the whole thing started. This one guy was using pills, Oxycontin. And I suspected, and then I found out, and then he, of course, went to snorting it. He found heroin because, of course, it's the cheaper route. And then that's how, and I kept saying to her, I don't think this guy's good. He's not good to be around. He's not safe. But she wouldn't listen. And then the next, one
Girls,
thing led to another.
Linda, do you remember? I mean, just going out with anybody. I mean, just because the thrill of it, the fun of it. It's a guy.
Right.
You can get high. You're away from your parents.
And
With
if they had a
no
motorcycle.
consciousness of consequences.
Yes. I wasn't conscious at all
No.
those years back then. I mean, no way.
No way.
I would go with, any kind of girl. My parents she hated all my friends, so it didn't matter.
Right.
She even hated the nice ones.
But see, that's the difference. We were there all the time. Like, she had boundaries. And now I'm talking like now she's 20, 21. I mean, she was an adult, for goodness sake. And we were giving her a lot of restrictions. So, of course, she was going to rebel. But we didn't know what else to do because she was still living in our house. So you're like, no, you can't go out at midnight or whatever. But she was 21 years old,
That's a.
But
I
we're
had the
still
same
treating
issue.
her like, and it's hard. And then, of course, when she's crashed 4 to 5 to 6 cars, I don't know if your daughter did
Oh,
that,
yeah.
but
Oh,
that
yeah.
seems to be goes along with heroin use.
Yes.
Because they're not enough. They're dipping out.
So
Whatever.
were you like the disciplinarian besides Garth? I think you're the one, not the heavy, but
Do I seem like the heavy?
Well,
because guess
more
what?
than him.
No.
Is he the tough guy?
Oh yeah,
He's a quiet, tough guy.
he was the one, and I was the enabler.
Wow.
Oh, I got a laugh track.
Thanks to this guy. All right. So tell me how about during this period of time when you found out in 2011, or maybe before, did any other family members see anything with Kelsey that maybe you didn't see or didn't want to see? Did anybody ever say anything to you?
No,
Yeah.
no,
People won't.
no. I don't think so. Well, till I was so grateful that my brother told me, that they stepped up, because I don't know how long that would have went on. She had been using before that, so
Sure,
I
of
didn't
course.
know. I was grateful.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Right? I mean,
But I can just picture, because we had a scene like that.
Oh, you
Where
did?
people,
Oh.
it's like, wait, what's
I
going
know.
on here?
Right.
Something
Especially when-
horrible's going on.
Especially when you're
here.
blindsided.
Yeah,
Because,
and they live a couple doors down from you,
yes,
right?
they live. Yeah.
So why would they be in my house?
Right. Just for a quick visit, I thought, I'll run downstairs.
Yeah.
See how you're doing.
Yeah, it's so I think everybody knows this. If you're listening to us on different mediums and you want to watch us actually right now do the show, go to Facebook, go to our Facebook page, which is Clean and Sober Radio, and you can watch us live right now. And just like these folks, Larry A. Wernick, very good-looking twin, I
Yeah.
must tell you. Yeah. Lynn Gordon Mitro. Mitro. Kathy Wolf Collin. Thank you, Kathy, for telling us you're from Coral Springs, Florida. Brenda Uzel Dickerson Shirk is watching. Okay, welcome. Bob McQuillan.
Oh,
Christina
I went to high school with him.
Settino Lewis.
Yes.
Okay. Ed Marie Donnelly. Dallin Pavey, all sickening. That's a very familiar
Oh,
name.
very familiar.
Yo, Dallin. Dallin says, "Hey, Karen. Dallin here. Dallin here. Love you, and I loved your book. Yeah, the book is fantastic,
Oh,
Dallin. It
thank
really is.
you.
It was so personal and so touching. 100% correct.
Thanks.
Say hi to David. James Bilderback from Ventnor, New Jersey. My man. Jesse B. Lohr.
Oh, that's my son.
That's your son.
Woohoo! Hi, Jess.
What's Jesse's middle name?
Blake.
Blake. Hey, Jesse, how are you? Jim Bilderback.
Dallas stinks.
Dallas. I hope we
He's
don't
a
have any
Dallas.
listeners
He's
named
a Dallas fan. I'm sorry.
James Bilderback. Good afternoon. Hello from Ventnor, Jim and Nancy. Great broadcast, as usual. Learning a lot from your guests. Thanks, buddy. Karen Nutt Connolly or Newt?
Yeah, Nut.
Nut. I would have changed that if I. All right. Kevin Endress. Let's see. Judge Christopher Maddox is watching.
Oh.
Hey, Judge. Hope you're feeling better. Olivia Ravella Gota.
Dada. We have to work on your vowel sounds.
Oh, we definitely do. All right, I think we have to take a break right now. Let's take it. We'll be right back with Karen to learn more about her journey. We'll be right back.
This is Clean and Sober Radio.
A cancer diagnosis can knock the wind out of you. The Sidney Kimmel Cancer Center at Abington Jefferson Health can help. Our brand new Asplund Cancer Pavilion brings you 86,000 square feet of cancer-fighting science for truly comprehensive care. Backed by the strength of an NCI-designated cancer center. Call 1-800-JEFF now. The Sidney Kimmel Cancer Center at Abington Jefferson Health. The power to out-science cancer.
Hey everybody, this is Tommy James, and you're listening to Clean and Sober Radio, and so am I.
888-728-9941. This is Clean and Sober Radio.
Hey, we're back. Welcome to Clean and Sober Radio. We're here with Karen Poserina-Lohr. I'm going to get this right, I swear. And she is an author. She is an educator, and she lost her daughter, Kelsey, in 2019, and that's what we are discussing. And this show, people should, this show is very important because, there are other people out there who have lost loved ones. You're not alone. I had asked Karen why she came on the show, and you wanted to tell your story.
Right.
It's cathartic.
Yeah.
It's helpful to you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so we are back. We had a couple of emails during the week, Linda.
Okay.
All right, and if I could find them, here we go. Mason W. from San Diego, California. If you were Mark, I'd say to you, you know where San Diego is?
But I know
Yeah.
where it is.
I am not hearing as much news about fentanyl overdoses as I did in the past. Why? Well, the studies show right now that the numbers are down. I don't know how accurate they are. You might know better than me, Linda. But we are not hearing as much.
Well, we're not hearing as much, and they took away the Narcan from a lot of these, little cities, and they're not administering it as much. So we're not getting the news under this current administration that we were getting before. So I don't know that we're going to get accurate numbers, but that's just one girl's opinion from New York. I don't know.
All right. Well, Sherry O. from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania writes, do you guys believe that religion can help someone get into recovery?
I do. I do.
Do you really?
Yes.
Okay, guess what? Anybody who, this is what I believe. I don't know the answer to that. Okay, I'm not religious, but I don't know the answer. Anything that can help anybody do anything, I'm for.
Right. And you don't have to believe it, but we have in the church community and in the Jewish community, we have recovery rabbis that have been trained. And one is the chaplain up at Karen, Rabbi Lipsker. And these guys are amazing. They can really reach into these people and they can see who's doing what. And they admit what's wrong with themselves, that they're not perfect. And I think these guys are just wonderful. And if you have religion, it gives you something. You have faith in something that you can't see or touch.
But I understand what you're saying as a sober person. But if you're in a heavy addiction, do you really, does that play into your mind at all, religion? Does it?
Oh, it does.
Does
If
it
you
really?
grew up with a religion, yeah, I think so. I mean, there are people who are very close with their Jesuit priests, their other priests, their rabbi. There are people who go in and get counseling
And they're
from
high?
a rabbi. Yeah, or their
Okay.
family needs counseling
Oh, the
with them
family
to find
needs
out what to
counseling.
do.
Yeah, yeah.
He does a lot of family work, the rabbi. So, it helps me. I mean,
Well, if
always,
it
helps me.
That's good.
I believe in God, so it helps me.
Good. So, Karen, your book,
Yes.
it's so, it's one of the easiest books I've ever read because it lays it out. It lays out everything about feelings and trauma and scariness, and then it gets into hopefulness.
Yeah.
Which is really, I really admire you for that. I just, let me ask you this question.
Okay.
How did you find out that Kelsey died?
We were down I had just retired, and I treated myself to a house in Ocean City for
Yeah.
the week. So I had a Fitbit on, and that's one of those, fitness trackers.
Yeah.
And they can tell you if there's a phone call. So, but my phone was actually in the other room, and I was charging it. So I was so grateful that I had the Fitbit on at least, and it was buzzing. And I just looked up, and I was like, oh, that's Kelsey's boyfriend. And it was like, call me or something. And then I had a couple of missed calls from an unknown caller. And then it was like that one part in my book, I'm proud of the way I wrote that because I knew. Kept everything that was happening after that point, I knew. I knew she was gone. But I kept, so I went down and I checked the phone, and I said, I got on the phone with her boyfriend, and he was hysterical, and he said, I'm so sorry, it doesn't look good. And I said, oh my God, what is going on? She overdosed, they took her out, she's at the hospital. And then I had a missed call from a police officer, and then I had to call them back, but I couldn't get the number right. I remember freaking out. My husband, Garth, was still asleep. He was in the other room. So then I started screaming for him, Garth. But I knew. Then I said, you have to call the police officer. You have to call the doctor. But I knew because we didn't get confirmation. So all of this was going, there was a lot of chaos that I remember. But I remember walking, you talk about religion or whatever. I'm not a religious person either, but in that moment, because I grew up Catholic, I was walking around the living room in a circle. I could still remember putting the sign of the cross like this. Please, 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 God. While Garth's on the phone talking to the doctor. And then I went in the bathroom, and I said, I just had to walk away. And then that's when he came in and told me. And we just crumbled. And then
I can't even imagine this.
Yeah, it was,
How hard is it for you to tell us that?
I know.
Does it get? It doesn't
Yes,
get easy.
yes,
It does.
Yeah.
In some way, it gets easier. In some ways, it must not. I mean, I can't.
Well, like yesterday, I had a moment. I mean, I'm 6 years in. I could still be on the floor, in that crumpled ball of flesh, but I've chosen not to. I've
Right.
tried to do everything I could. That's why I've done so many things, just because that's how I needed to work through my grief. And I just pulled myself out of it, and I have hope, and I did a lot of spiritual work and grief work, and so that's how I got out of it. So it's not hard for me anymore to tell the story, but I still have my moments. Like I was saying yesterday, I don't know, I just started to cry. So
If it's something you see that reminds
oh
you
yeah,
of
it's like
her.
a trigger. It could be I know what it was. I went in her bedroom and I was going through her jewelry, and I started to cry. I said, "What is going on? Why are you not here to wear these earrings?" Because I know I bought them with you. Now I'm going to have to wear them, like without you.
It says that you're very spiritual.
Yes, yes.
Not religious. I mean,
No, I feel it's a spiritual thing, and just I feel the energy. So I feel my daughter all around. I really believe that she's with me. I don't even believe it. I know it. So, and I've gone that path of going to medium and that type of thing, and whether people believe in that stuff, it doesn't matter. That's fine. But I really wanted to touch on it in the book because that was my journey. So,
Yeah.
and this is how I'm working through my grief, and
did you guys ever go to Al-Anon or Nar-Anon?
Yes, that's another whole chapter in the book.
Yeah,
Yep, I
you
did
did
a
that.
whole Nar-Anon for 3 years.
How about regular therapy after Kelsey passed? That
And
help?
we were a family of
Yeah, go.
we did
Yeah.
go to therapy, but she right, I found a grief counselor.
Uh-huh.
So that was what was very helpful. She knew about grief and how to deal with it that way. So that was very helpful. I got so much information, and then of course just to have somebody listen but put it into perspective. That was very helpful. So
Your chapter 11, and I could go through. I was
Yeah,
planning on
chapter
going through
11.
every single chapter at the beginning of the chapter and reading these quotes. Linda, just
oh, the stages of grief. Okay, I
stages.
got
Okay.
you. Okay.
So on chapter 11, it says, and there's always what would you call
A quote.
it? A quote. Yeah, a quote. Sometimes a parent grieves for the loss of a child that is still alive. True.
Yes, and that's what I
True.
felt when I was in Nar-Anon. Once it hit me the one day, I was like, "Oh man, we are all grieving our loved ones. Most of us had children, but some were there for like a sibling or whatever. But they were still alive. But you went through the stages of grief.
Yeah.
You denied it, like, oh, they're not an addict. No way. Then you get to anger. Then you're really annoyed at, really mad at them, and then you bargain. You do that whole thing. Oh, please let them, this time, please let them get sober. And, I will, I'll do this or whatever. And then finally acceptance, well, she is an addict or whatever. I'm going to accept her for the way she is and love her for who she is.
Did you ever go through listening to other friends of yours who have children, and they're saying, "Oh my son just graduated medical school," all this
Yeah.
stuff, and you're thinking, "Oh my God, look where I am with this."
Yeah, I had that, but I try not to. Yeah, it's a trigger, and I think, and it's fine. I've gotten through that. It's what am I going to do?
Yeah, I know.
But if it's somebody that is just so oblivious and they say something
Yeah,
out of turn, that really hurts. Then,
Yes.
because they're not even considering that I'm in the room and I've lost somebody. So they're just not as self-aware as they should be. But
So tell me, after Kelsey passed, how did this affect your relationship with Garth?
well, we were totally at odds during the addiction, and it just got worse and worse.
What
so.
kind of odds? You
Oh
didn't-
yeah, well he was I was the enabler,
Okay.
and meaning I would rescue her.
Yeah.
Not that he wouldn't too, but he was in my ear a lot of times. Why is she doing this? Why can't she? So he couldn't understand it as much as I did.
Yeah.
Once I, and she was a girl. She was my daughter, and we were close. And not that she wasn't close with Garth, but she would confide in me certain things, and that he just didn't understand. I don't think, and Oh, I'm sorry. I totally lost.
No,
my
no,
train
that's
of
fine.
thought.
When you brought up girl, it's like
It's
it's
okay.
harder. What
Right.
it is, it was your son. Do you think it would have been the same if Ben was a girl?
Sure, it would have been the same.
It would have. I just think with no facts, with boys, I would have been able to separate a little further away than from the daughter because girl, you got to protect her. Blah, blah, blah,
Right.
blah, blah.
But I don't know. Maybe because for me, I was the one. I could see that she was in this pain, but she was really probably a lot of times just lying, and the lies are just the worst.
Yeah.
And Garth could see that, but I couldn't because I saw deeper into it that I really believed that she was really wanted to get sober and wanted to get out of this, but she was interweaving all of that with her lies because that's what they do. That's how they survive, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
with
yeah.
your daughter.
Yeah.
And that drove me insane, the lying.
How is Jesse doing all of this and afterwards?
It wasn't good with him because it was a shame because he just lost his sister. They had no kind of relationship.
Yeah.
He really couldn't stand being around her.
Yeah.
He moved out because he wanted to get away, and so that's what he needed to do. That was fine. And he was he doesn't really talk much about it, but I know it.
Of course.
I just know.
Of course.
Yeah.
Just joining us now, we're having a beautiful interview with Karen Poserina-Lohr. And Karen, they lost their daughter, Kelsey, in 2019. And that's what we're talking about, the loss of a child. Unfathomable.
Yeah.
If you have any thoughts about this subject, call us, 1-888-728-9941. We have so many people who are watching this, and it's because of you, I'm sure. Let me go through more of these. Mike Burke, checking in from Media, Pennsylvania. Mary Pat Dunphy Hoon. I have a son who I lost in his addiction. I actually became closer to him. Okay. Bob McQuillan, Karen, wasn't sure you would remember me. St. Mike's was a long time ago. My oldest son is actually our daughter's age. Do you remember this?
Oh, yep, I know him. Yep, went to grade school and high school.
Gunnar Morton Narding,
No.
new listener. Mary Pat Dunphy writes, this is interesting. There are many paths to recovery. The person suffering from addiction needs to find out what works for them. Well, that's true. I mean, they have to make the decision and pull the trigger. And But you know what? I'm rethinking. I went into rehab court ordered.
Okay.
So sometimes you're pushed into it.
Right.
And sometimes that's the thing that works, and then sometimes it doesn't. So I guess everybody has a different path.
Right. I was wondering if that helps, if you're court ordered. But Kelsey's was always just, well, we've kind of pushed it too. I mean, she was in over 20 rehabs. Nothing. And by then she was like, Mom, this is not working.
Right.
It's just not.
Marie Wagner Soretsky.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing, Karen, your story and bringing awareness. You are such a brave mom.
Oh. Thank you.
It's nice to hear that, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And your son says, love you, Mom.
Oh, love you, Jesse.
Rady?
I want to ask a question from the book.
Yeah,
it
go ahead,
says
Lynn.
that you reconnected in her passing, that you can talk to her now. Can you elaborate on that a little bit for the listeners? Because I do have some connections that I see people, but I
Okay.
want to hear yours.
Okay, so through my spiritual path, I just started I found a workshop online because I was doing a lot of that kind of stuff, and this guy does automatic writing. So I started to do that, and it's just, you get into a place of, I do a lot of meditation and saying certain prayers, and then I just, get my pen to paper, and if it just sort of comes through me. And I heard my daughter come through, and lots of different people, a lot of different loved ones. I've done it for some friends, and I thought it was I didn't believe it for a long, 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 long time. It just was hard to, because who am I? That's what I thought. But I don't know. I talk to my daughter all the time. And then now I just hear her in my head and we have conversations. And I don't talk about it much because I know it sounds crazy. So, but for me, this is my connection with the otherworldly, my connection.
Whatever works for you.
Whatever works.
Gives you comfort.
Right. Yeah. And it's even more than that for me sometimes because I believe that we're all energy. Everything is energy, and the energy doesn't go anywhere. You can't destroy energy. It just changes form. So I picture, okay, her body's gone, but she's still here. Her aura, her essence, the self that she is inside of her and always was, still there.
Do you believe that you will see her again?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think she'll be around and waiting for. Well, she's here now. That's why I just don't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's
so good that you have that in you, that you can feel that stuff.
Right. And I just felt like I was hopeful. Yeah.
Huh.
So brave. You're so brave.
You are so brave. We have a lot of people that are, I guess, calling in but not talking.
I wonder why. Maybe Dallin will call in. If she can hear me.
All right,
she can
Dallin,
call
1-888-728-9941. We'll take the third caller, and Linda and I are giving away a 1969 Camaro to the third caller.
Oh, well, I'm the third caller.
Yeah. I didn't say what size it was.
Right. Matchbox
I didn't
size.
say what size it was.
Matchbox.
Okay. Here's another email. Sid S. from Augusta, Georgia. Good, that's one of the cities we broadcast in. Love the show. I've been sober for 22 years, and your show has been very helpful.
Yay.
That's good to hear, right?
Yeah. Board's getting a little workout today.
It certainly
We're
is.
having fun.
What do you guys do? Can we take a break right now? Yeah, we'll take a break, and then we're going to come back. I want to talk to you about what life has actually been for you guys in the last 5 years.
Okay.
6 years. We'll be right back.
This is Clean and Sober Radio.
A cancer diagnosis can knock the wind out of you. The Sidney Kimmel Cancer Center at Abington Jefferson Health can help. Our brand new Asplund Cancer Pavilion brings you 86,000 square feet of cancer-fighting science for truly comprehensive care. Backed by the strength of an NCI-designated cancer center. Call 1-800-JEFF now. The Sidney Kimmel Cancer Center at Abington Jefferson Health. The power to out-science cancer.
Hey, this is Mark Stein from the classic rock band Vanilla Fudge. Keep on rocking, so good luck to everybody and all the best.
888-728-9941. This is Clean and Sober Radio.
Yeah.
Hey, we're back. Clean and Sober Radio. We're talking with Karen Poserina-Lohr. Man, I'm gonna be thinking about that all night. Not nightmares. Think about that name. You know, all our guests have difficult names. People that are watching us, right? It's no John Smiths anymore.
You're right.
It really is, you know. Karen and her husband, Garth, lost their daughter, Kelsey, in 2019 from an overdose, and it was heroin?
Correct.
Heroin. Did you have Narcan in the house? Or you weren't even around? You weren't home?
No, and she had just moved, and they couldn't find the Narcan, her boyfriend. But if I can say something else, this was not her first overdose. She had overdosed, I don't know, 3 or 4 times before, and the Narcan was always right there, and her boyfriend would Narcan her, and he'd say, "What are you doing? Why are you keep doing?" You know, so.
I have a friend. I have several friends who've lost their children. One of them said to me, and I'm asking this question. He said to me, at least he doesn't have to worry about ever getting that phone call again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that
Is there any
dreaded?
Is there any closure in it? Is there anything?
Oh, yeah. Oh, for me, I that's why I guess I get phone calls from different people, and they reach out to me because they know I've been through it. And one of the women that you've been hearing that had called in, Mary Pat, we actually, her son unfortunately passed away, but we met in Naranon, and we got together. We had seen each other, and we decided we're going to try to go out to rehabs or maybe churches, and because she has some background in being a certified recovery specialist, and then I have my experience with writing the book, and so it's a giving back type of thing.
Yeah.
So, when people call me and know that I've been through it, so I can walk them through what I did or how it was for me, or you just try to do the best you can. Everybody does it differently, and I had joined some online groups, but they weren't for me because a lot of people are still, I don't want to say that word stuck, it might sound negative, but they're still in their grief pretty deep in. Yeah. And I think I've moved through it a little more easily I don't know if I want to say easily, I don't know, but I'm in a different space. Not that everybody's grief is different, and that's fine, wherever they are.
Sure.
But I didn't want to get in my grief forever and ever and ever. I just couldn't.
You know what? We had Tony Luke on,
Oh, yeah.
And his line was, you can visit,
but
don't,
yes.
you can visit don't make it something like your whole life.
Right, exactly.
Something to that
That's
effect.
exactly how I feel.
You can visit the
Correct.
grief.
Yep.
But do you remember what he said? But
Don't live
in
there.
it.
Don't
Yeah,
live
that's
in
it,
it. Right.
Brad.
Right,
But
right,
don't
right.
live in it.
That's what
Yeah,
he said.
because I had a
Yeah.
line in the book too, something like that. I said it was okay for it to come and visit for a while, but it wasn't going to make, come and stay and live. I just didn't want it.
You and your husband, you're not in recovery, right?
No.
Okay.
I'm in recovery. When I was in Naranon, we used to say that.
Okay, I got it. Did the passing of your daughter, did you ever start thinking, I got to start drinking or taking pills or anything like that to get out of that?
Oh, no. Mm-mm. No, I know what you mean. Some people might go down that path. No, I know.
A relief, some kind of relief.
No, I didn't. No, you know what? I really felt strongly that I had to dive into it. I had to lean into my grief, or I'd never recover. I knew it. I had to face the pain.
I mean, you're really incredible.
Oh, stop.
No, right, Linda?
A miracle. A miracle.
I don't.
I'm in awe.
I don't know.
I'm in
I
awe
just,
too.
Oh, stop.
And
That's
how
embarrassing.
And you've taken this horrible event and you're giving back. You're helping people.
Right, and I guess I don't know. For me, I just think, I really do believe in this type of situation. The more you bury something, whatever it is, it's going to come back. It will. You never know. It could be 20 years later.
Right.
It's going to come out somehow. You might act out. It could, or whatever, in how you live your life. And I didn't want to do that, so that's why I dove into it. I don't know.
And so, are people not actually recognizing you, but when they find out about this book and that you wrote it, are they like, oh my God, either, wow, it's so great, or I never knew, what kind of reactions do you get to this book from people who know you?
Right. Oh, it's been incredible. I never expected it because I thought, I'll just self-publish this book. I did a little social media plug, my Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
And it was so exciting. I mean, people were so nice and supportive, and, people from high school you have Facebook friends, you're like acquaintances basically. But they were so supportive. They did, and they read, I'm going to read it. And then the messages I got were incredible, like private messages, and because then they want to tell their story.
Right.
And it just, I was in awe of all of them. And I was very humbled that happened. And it's, and if I can help, when I wrote it, I was like, if I can just reach like a few people and maybe it'll make a difference and they'll really get it. But it went beyond that for me. So
by you telling your story and writing your book, that gives the other people the opportunity or the acceptance for them to tell theirs.
Right.
That's
very true. Yep.
How'd that sound, Linda?
Good. Really good.
That was good, right?
I find the hardest people to get to are the people that they're in complete denial.
Yeah.
You know, you can't break denial by just talking to it.
No.
They
No.
do not see it, won't see it. And you
Right.
have to think, well, I'll still be positive. I'll still be
Right.
here to support them when
That's
they're
all you c-
ready.
right.
And that's what you can
Yeah.
do. But denial's a tough thing to break.
You know, I would get this. Oh, your daughter's so pretty. How? Did you ever get that? How, oh, she's so pretty. What? Why? There's no why. There's no
Right.
answer.
Right.
It's the, not. I want to say ignorance. It's the
Right.
unaware.
Right.
people.
That's what I do try. It's hard, but I do. I try to look at it that way. They're not self-aware.
They're not. And also,
Right,
this
and
is
that's
a
fine.
very difficult subject to talk about,
Oh, sure.
especially to somebody who has lost their child.
Right. Right.
Very uncomfortable.
Right. Because I even mentioned in the book, like, even when, you could lose, anybody you lose, they'll come up to you and go, oh, but they're in a better place.
Yeah,
Oh, it's,
yeah, yeah.
but, it'll be fine, or however they might say things. And we don't really appreciate it, but I try to just try to look at the positive and just say, at least they're acknowledging it. Because a lot of people don't want to say your child's name, especially they just want to pretend it didn't happen.
That's right.
So,
Who is Sharon Poserina?
oh, that's my niece.
Well, she's watching.
Oh, good. And it's not Poserina, it's
Poserina.
Poserina.
Linda, you should have caught that.
I should have.
Well, she says that Kelsey brings, I guess it's you bring beauty to the world every day.
And then she has a little butterfly.
Oh,
Little butterfly.
thank you, Shani.
Linda, is it Poserina or Poserina?
Poserino
That's right.
and Poserina.
You're making me
Poserina
Like that
and
one.
It's
Poserina.
Poserina.
Brad, are you getting all this?
I think that she'll be confused by the time this
Okay.
She won't know her name. by the
Gary,
time
it's a
we're
short
done.
O sound. I'm a reading specialist. Ah, Poserina.
And I think Italian
Poserina.
Pasta.
And
That's
really,
all you
the
can think
S is
about
like a
is food.
Z.
Yeah.
Poserina.
Oh my God, we have butchered names on this show like you can't believe. I got to tell you. Okay, we're getting a signal that we're coming to the end.
Are we?
Yeah. Karen, is there anything you'd like to just throw out there to the audience? You know.
Well, I am just so honored that I could do this. And I believe me, I could have been really super, super nervous and had anxiety. And I did. So I shouldn't say I didn't. But I specifically told myself for a week ahead of time.
For a week.
Oh, yeah. I'm turning any of this nervousness into excitement.
Okay.
That the fact that
okay.
so then I'm like, I was so pumped. Like, this is really cool. I never did this before. So I'm looking at it positively. So, of course, it's a hard subject, but I'm getting, and this is so great. Now I'm going to get it out there in a bigger way. And I really appreciate it.
Yes, you are. Again,
Thank you.
Karen's talking about the book about her daughter, Kelsey. The book is Hippie Chick. Get it on Amazon. Look, we have a giant audience, us, and then there's other people that should have this book also. Get this book. It's really incredible.
Aw, thanks.
Okay, remember, if you or a loved one is struggling with addiction, help is available. Please call 1-800-662-HELP. That's 1-800-662-HELP. For Clean and Sober Radio, I'm Gary Hendler.
I'm Linda Elkins.
And again, we thank Karen Poserina-Lohr so very much
Thank you
for
so
sharing
much.
your story. It really takes guts.
Oh,
Really admire you.
thank
We
you.
hope to see you again on the show.
Oh, thank you.
All right?
Love to come back.
Thanks a lot. All right,
Thanks.
everybody, have a great weekend.
Tis the sun that loves you bright.
I'd like to say thank you on behalf of the group and ourselves. I hope we pass the auditioning.
Hey, thanks everybody for watching the show. I hope you enjoyed it, learned something, and have a great and safe weekend. We'll catch you later.